Hey Zane,
Yeah,
do you remember the first whiskey you ever had?
it was Knob Creek.
See, mine was Crown.
You can imagine
Yeah,
that.
right. But now let me ask you this question. If somebody had never had whiskey before and they wanted to get into whiskey, would you recommend your first whiskey as a whiskey they should try?
I would not. Actually. No.
See, I wouldn't either. So today we thought we would talk about how to choose your starter whiskey.
So, picking and choosing a starter whiskey?
That's right. Plus, afterwards, we'll tell you our starter whiskeys we would recommend right now
Sounds good.
today.
We're going to help you help yourself.
Find starter whiskey.
All right after this. Well, it's Whiskey Pop time, and I'm Zane.
And I'm Jeff.
And today,
Yeah.
we're going to help you help your friends pick a starter whiskey.
That's right, because you truly, if you're watching a whiskey channel like ours, you're already into whiskey.
You probably don't need a start. Well, or they could be stumbling upon it because they want to find a starter
That's true.
whiskey.
They may be looking for a starter whiskey, but also most whiskey drinkers want their friends to be whiskey drinkers.
Yeah, we
with them.
indoctrinate those around us and don't like to hear the, oh, it just doesn't taste good.
So we thought we would give our tips on how to find and pick your starter whiskey. But before we do that,
We have some whiskey that we need to drink right now.
yeah, and today this is no starter whiskey.
Now, tell us again, just briefly, about the proof and what that means and how that affects us in life.
This is backbone bourbon, uncut, which means there's no water added.
0 water.
It's a single barrel.
It's foolproof. It's mother's milk.
That's right, 138 proof of mother's milk.
Oh my gosh, 138 proof.
Yeah, so we're gonna pop this open and try it.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to do this?
I am ready.
Are you sure? It's 138 proof. You know that, right?
Well, you know, this whiskey drinker was born on high proof whiskey.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go in. High proof whiskey born whiskey drinker. Oh, that smells good.
It does.
Okay, let's go in. Ooh. So, but we still can't talk about this because
Yeah, we do that on Friday when we bring you second pour
that's right. That's where we will talk about backbone.
and actually give you a honest and professional opinion.
Hobbyist opinion.
Yeah, there he was. I was giving you a chance.
Can we get serious now?
Oh, how many times have you heard somebody say, I don't like beer?
Beer.
But then you find out, well, what kind of beer have you had? And they go, I had Bud Light,
Yeah, all they had is Pilsners.
but Coors. And I'm like,
Coolers.
that's not beer. Same thing with whiskey. I don't like whiskey because it burns or it didn't taste good. What'd you have? Oh, I had like some, I don't know, Evan Williams White Label.
Look, you know, it doesn't mean you can't like White Label or Coors.
That's correct.
Because, I mean, what we're getting at is it's not all that beer is. It's not all that whiskey is.
That's correct too. And also, if you're just getting into whiskey, the last thing you want to do is jump into an uncut, unfiltered 138 proof bottle
Unless you've been having a really bad day.
because you're going to have another bad day when you get about halfway through that bottle. This comes to our first tip is how low can you go?
Lower.
How does that feel, baby?
Unlike today where there's just a ton of cast strength, barrel proofs, single barrels, uncuts, all those, you probably want to try to stray away from anything over 100 proof when you first start.
Oh, well, sure. And that helps mitigate the sting, so to speak.
That burn that people talk about,
Yes.
right? I mean, but that goes away quickly.
It does. It does. And, you know, what you're trying to do is find something that is, as they say, smooth.
That's right, not as harsh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple step. don't get something that's gonna blow your, your quote unquote goozle off.
And yes, you could add water or ice. Hang on. You could add water or ice to your whiskey, and that helps. Okay.
Yeah, so you can drink your whiskey neat, but make sure that you have it at a ABV, which is alcohol by volume.
Oh, not like ABZ, alcohol by Zane.
At a lower level, so that you can enjoy it without the flaming rituals.
Now, if you're not completely just interested in getting into bourbon, you could jump into Scotch or Irish whiskey, who tends to be a lot softer, a little more mild, and a little easier to enter. I mean, I think the standard for Irish and Scotch whiskey is around 80 proof.
Yeah, I mean, that's their upper end.
It feels like that sometimes. We've had some there are some that are way higher, but the standard entry into those is 80 proof. If you want a bourbon, there are bourbons out there that are under 100 proof that are smooth. I mean, we would even say like Basil Hayden sometimes would be one of those ones that's easy to enter into, right?
It's super easy to get into, and super smooth. It's just easy to drink. But is that your recommendation? I don't know. I'll tell you about that later.
At the end of this video. Get over there! Start simple.
Yeah, complication is not necessary, and it confuses things. And what do I mean by complication?
Well, today craft whiskey makers are finishing whiskey in a lot of different types of barrels.
And damn, they're good.
Yeah, they are. But if you're just getting into whiskey,
you're gonna get confused.
This can turn you off. They got port finishes and rum cast finishes and wine finishes, and it just goes on. There's even beer cast finishes now, like the Guinness cast of the Lagavulin.
Let me explain this to you right here. This is easy. So Jeff and I, we drink a lot of whiskey.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. However, this is an interesting thing. We genuinely would say, yes, we like bourbon. However,
sure.
his likes are so different, especially when it comes to the finished barrels as opposed to mine.
Yeah, you're a big port guy, right?
Yeah, you'll drink them.
Oh yeah,
You'll drink some of these, but I really like them.
Now there are some that are porty that are good, and there's some that just kind of feel like they've gone overboard with.
And I'm like, yeah.
You're the overboard guy, and I'm like, give me the subtle guy.
So this is one of those things that you're already dividing a small group of things already. You don't need to divide it up anymore. So go simple.
It also means to just be cautious around those finished whiskeys. Also be cautious around those whiskeys that are infused. So just like they're infusing whiskey now, what that means is they're actually pouring these things into the whiskey, whereas when they finish it in a barrel, it's just there's nothing else in there but still the whiskey. But the infused ones, they're actually putting other stuff in there, which changes the way the whiskey tastes, and it may turn you off from whiskey if that's what you start off with.
I mean, like if you're drinking something and they say it's whiskey and you're pretty sure you're drinking a cinnamon candle.
Are you saying Fireball?
I'm just saying it might turn some people off.
You can jump on a flavored whiskey, but we're gonna do you a favor. Most whiskey connoisseurs consider whiskey with anything added to it, such as a flavor, not whiskey.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to ruin a whiskey, just take your favorite flavor of Kool-Aid.
Pour black cherry into your whiskey.
Pour it right in there. And you have
Kool-Aid whiskey.
Yeah.
Vicky, can I help you with that Kool-Aid?
This is don't overspend.
Yeah, see, we've got this list, right, that we're going to come to at the end.
Yeah.
And it's not a list of what whiskeys would we try to get a new person to drink.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, because we're going to be like, oh, you've got to try this. No, these are ones that are like affordable.
Yeah,
within
exactly
that
right.
world. Because I'm going to have you try something that you're probably sure, you're not going to be able to find it.
Yeah, that's the problem with us.
Because I'm trying to hook somebody immediately.
Yeah. I need them to get addicted to whiskey as fast as possible. So you give them the good stuff.
I'm a dealer, apparently. I'm like, yeah, I got more of that. Yeah.
But the truth be told, you don't have to spend a lot of money to drink good whiskey, and that's along the range of all whiskey.
Oh, sure.
So like bourbon, we usually say bourbon, you're getting into a good bourbon range around 30 to 50 bucks.
Right, and then you got your scotches, which is like what, 50
to $70. You're getting into some good scotches. Not that there's not good scotches that are cheaper and good bourbons that are cheaper. Irish whiskey's around the $40, $50 range. You're getting into some good Irish whiskey. Japanese whiskey.
It's untouchable at these price points.
That's an undiscovered country, and what I mean by that is that's a hit or miss. So sometimes you'll spend $100 and it's like, eh.
That is the when you are, let's say, further along in the journey of whiskey drinking.
Yeah, then you're a little more apt to, I guess, take a chance, a risk.
Yeah.
You gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
Experiment like you did in college.
when we're talking about drinking.
Yeah, you want to explore different regions. So you want to explore Canadian whiskey, Irish whiskey, Japanese whiskey, bourbon, Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah, you jump into scotches, and then scotches have two major delineations.
They got like 5. They got
Islay,
Islay, Speyside.
yeah.
I
But
mean,
that's kind of
Ireland, you know, I mean,
yeah,
it goes everywhere. So be willing to jump around, and because you may hate Japanese whiskey, but you may love scotch, which I don't know how that's possible. You may love bourbon and then hate scotch.
Because see, like it goes back to my experience with my super cheap second whiskey, which was actually a scotch, which was Dimple.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's not expensive.
No.
However, the experience was amazing because I tell everybody this, is that was the first time I ever had anything that just rolled with different layers of flavor.
Oh, so complications, right?
Yeah. And I was like, what? My stars. You know, I had a moment.
Now, a lot of people say they don't like scotches because they've had something really smoky and peaty, like from the Islay area, like Ardbeg.
Yeah.
But there's Speyside stuff doesn't have that heavy peatiness, so it's a lot softer, and there's a lot more going on that you can pull out and not be overwhelmed with how much smoky is going on there.
Wow, man. That's some heavy shit.
So don't be afraid to travel around and experiment new things. In the same rate, give your palate time to acclimate. You're not going to pick up much more than oak, caramel, and vanilla.
Because I picked that up on pretty much everything.
That's bourbon.
Yeah, but you know the thing is too, it's like we're trying to help you help your friend. Here.
Help you, help yourself, help your friend.
Go easy on them. You know, you don't want to confuse them.
Yeah, and don't try to do something where you give them this whiskey, you know it's amazing, and they're like, because you're just gonna piss yourself off.
Yeah, because once you see somebody shooting your favorite whiskey because they think that's how you're supposed to drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get somebody telling you just have to drink it neat.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cold.
So, I guess we should talk about the whiskeys we recommend.
Right, and we'll start with what? Bourbon.
Bourbon, right?
Now, this was a difficult choice.
Yeah, because we've had a lot of bourbon.
Yeah, and there's a lot of low alcohol content, quote unquote. It's still 80% or
anything under 100. There's still a lot out there.
Yeah. But we're looking for something that was smooth, and we had a lot on this list, but we narrowed it down to
4 Roses small batch.
It's quintessential in what I would just say is the flavors that are associated with bourbon.
Yeah, I think so. The quintessential bourbon flavors, the oak, vanilla, and the caramel stuff, it's there, but then there's a lot of extra little nuances within that.
Now, if you haven't tried 4 Roses small batch, shame on you.
Yeah, you should go out there and buy a bottle. It's always available on the shelf, for one thing.
That's a good thing, and it's affordable.
Shop smart, shop S-smart.
Now, the other one was Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah, of course.
Now, honestly, the first thing everybody thinks about Tennessee whiskey is Jack Daniels, right?
Right.
Funny enough, we actually recommend
Gentleman Jack.
That's right, Gentleman Jack. I mean, honestly, Gentleman Jack is a very approachable, smooth whiskey.
Well, would we actually drink it, or would we go buy it?
We have a bottle of Gentleman Jack, I think, in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. Do you remember when we first started drinking whiskey, and you'd go and look, $30?
Oh, yeah.
Gentleman Jack's like $30. Like, I'll get the cheaper stuff.
Yeah.
Now you see $30, you're like, well, that's a bargain.
You sure do drive a hard bargain.
Okay, so Scotch.
Yeah.
Now this one is all over the place, right?
Sure it is.
I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of Scotches.
It's really ridiculous at the things we choose, I guess, in this stuff.
In this case, I mean, we actually started leaning toward, you kind of start leaning toward those big brand Scotches.
It's because they do it so well.
And they're approachable again.
Yeah, it's nothing over the top. It's always consistent. And in this case, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I think I have to agree with you. So we picked
Black Label.
Johnny Walker.
So it's an enjoyable Scotch. Is it?
It's a little smoky.
It's a little bit. It's a little oily.
Slight oily, peaty, but not like over the top.
No, it's approachable.
Very approachable, and it's a nice, smooth Scotch. Now, this next one, Irish whiskey. Over the last few years, we've really grown to love Irish whiskey.
Yeah, now this one is actually very nice.
This one, you would think every time you hear Irish whiskey, everybody recommends what?
You had some Jameson?
Yeah, Jameson. Jameson is good, don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
But this whiskey is a little special. And we've talked about it before, but we would recommend Tullamore
12 year.
It's under $50.
Yeah.
And always available. And super sweet.
Yeah, it's really good and can give you hints of strawberry.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's one of those that I like having on hand. I actually like it that much.
And it's scary because it's so smooth and tasty that it's easy to just drink the
The whole thing. Yeah. You got to really watch yourself on this one.
Irish whiskey, I say in general, is the easiest whiskey out there that you could just drink the whole bottle and realize
they do
it's done.
a great job of what their product is because it's so smooth, so easy to drink, and next thing you know,
It kind of explains Darby O'Gill and the Little People to a whole other level.
Well, she is my dear. That's my diamond.
So what about you? What was your starter whiskey, or what are you thinking about being your starter whiskey if you're just new to whiskey?
Yeah, and please look at this list and take our expert opinion. This is excellent.
I will agree with that.
Yeah, it's excellent. Come on.
I'll agree
But
with
what
that.
it is this will really be a good starter, and
Yeah,
it doesn't
for sure.
break the bank, and it lets you explore stuff that maybe you never had before or your friend hasn't had without just destroying their face.
So grab one of these 4 whiskeys we've recommended and then go visit your friend and see what they think about that whiskey and see if that changes their mind about how they feel about it. So in the meantime, you guys continue to be geeky this week, and we'll catch you on Friday for
Second pour.
and be safe, drink with some friends, and
Cheers.
cheers.